Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping in today. I have a new layout to share for the Paige Evans design team, and I'm going to be starting this layout with one of Paige's newer cut files, and this one is called The Perfect Day, and it's perfect for a really big, striking title. And I have all the little inside letters that I'm going to use to trace on several pattern papers to put back inside the open spaces of the cut file. And I'm going to challenge myself today to create sort of a monochromatic layout, which is rare for me because when I use Paige's collections, I tend to use all the colors because they're just all so pretty. But I just was really drawn to the pinks and the oranges. So I'm going to try to stick to just those two colors. And I'm using everything from her Wonders collection. And some of these papers are from the 6x8 paper pad that I've already used for a few things. I just went through and picked out everything that was pink or orange. And some of the papers in the 6x8 paper pad, like those two with the polka dots, have shiny metallic gold foiling on them. And they're so pretty, especially when they hit the light. You can see there how shiny they are. But yeah, I'm just tracing the letters and then I'm going to cut them out. And then I'm going to fill in all of the spaces. Now, you could technically do this on your Cameo as well, but I wasn't sure what paper I wanted to use for which letter. So I just decided to do this the old-fashioned way and just trace and cut and, you know, put it in there. And there's a lot of different ways you could do this, but yeah, so that's the way I did it. And I kind of got all the oranges and the pinks going on there, and I'm going to use a sheet of light pink textured cardstock for the background. And yeah, you can kind of see there where I'm going to put the title kind of right in the center and then work my photos around it. But I am going to do lots of mixed media on the background. And so since this is a pink sheet of paper, I'm going to use some white gesso instead of clear. And I'm not trying to fade out the pink. I'm just trying to add some variation. I want some white space on the layout. And by white space, I just mean I'm trying to lighten up the pink in a little bit of the area on the paper. Just because it's going to look different when I start to add color to the background. And it's also going to prep the paper for any liquid or inks or sprays that I add to it. And I just like the look of this white, hazy, cloudy stuff on the background. I don't know. I just like it. I like that messy look. And especially when the background is light like this, the white works really well. And it's going to look totally different once I start to add color. So you can see there, I kind of kept working with it until I had a lot of white area. And then I'm going to use 3 black and white photos. These are from a few years ago. My mom and my sister and me, we went to a local festival to see a concert, and it was the best of the 90s. And yeah, it was Vanilla Ice, Tone Loc, and Salt and Pepper. And it was awesome. I mean, we had a great time. So yeah, we made some funny selfies while we were waiting for the show, and it was the perfect day because it was so much fun. And so yeah, you can kind of see where I'm going to put the photos, the big one up top, and then the 2 smaller ones kind of layered below. And now I'm going to get to work on the background. So we're going to do lots of pinks and oranges on the background because, like I said, I'm trying to stick to just those 2 colors, which sometimes is a challenge for me, but I think this one is a success. Now, I'm using several different shimmers here. I'm using some sprays and some that come in the little pots, and I'm just mixing and matching. The 2 sprays that I started with is, let's see, Vibes Sweetheart mixed with Spritz Ruby. And then the one that I added the water to in the pot there is an actual Shimmer's original, and it's called Pip Pip Cherry-O. And yeah, I just love this deep, rich pink. I just added a little bit of water. I like to use the brush. I like to pick up the paper and then just kind of turn it this way and that way and let the color kind of run and do its thing. And yeah, it just kind of creates its own color wash design. And you just kind of have to have patience, and you just kind of have to work with it. And the thing about the gesso, as you can see here, is when I add water to it, I'm able to kind of soften up the edges, and it just kind of blends back in with the water. Now, if you didn't use gesso, that's not going to happen. It's going to mostly just kind of go ahead and soak through the paper. and the way it lands on the paper is the way it's going to look. So if you like the idea of, you know, changing the way the edges look and kind of softening it up and making it look a little hazy and blended, you'll want to use the gesso first. So, and it just depends on the look you're going for, and, you know, how much you're going to put on there, and what it's going to do. So it's just all dependent on, you know, what you want the effect to be. This one here is Shimmer's Pink, just the basic pink color. It's very light. And yeah, I'm just trying to get some different shades, and kind of just basically create this nice big various pink shades of a big background here. And I want to have the cut file come back on top of it, and it's going to look different once the cut file is back, and then once the photos are on there. And I printed my photos in black and white because for a couple reasons. For one, I knew that they would stand out really, really nicely with all this pink and orange. And then second of all, the photos were taken at night under like big stadium lighting, and all of us are wearing different colors, and they're kind of dark because it was dark. So, you know, it was like the photos look kind of reddish. So when I converted them to black and white, they look much better, especially for a layout. So that's why they're in black and white. I did add a little bit of a spray called Sunset Strip. It's kind of a light orangey color, and you can see how it blends with the pinks there and gives another shade of color. And I do want a couple areas on the background that do have a little bit of an orange look, since I do have some orange in the title. And I'm going to add a little bit over here to the bottom left. And just, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep using the brush. I'm going to keep letting the colors just kind of run and blend and kind of go where they want. And I do want the colors to kind of show around the edges of the photos. And so I want to make sure that I'm adding the color in areas that is going to be, or that are going to be visible. Even though some of it's going to get covered up, because that's just how it goes when you make a background like this. And I'm trying to decide how I want to do the letters and the cut file. I'm not sure how I want to attach those yet, but all right, so this is the next day. Everything's dry. Look how shimmery. I love that. And it dried a little bit lighter than I wanted, so I'm going to continue to work on it. But so far, I really like this. I think it's really pretty. And then, yeah, I'm going to tuck the top photo kind of underneath the title so it overlaps, and then the two smaller ones like that. And I want them to be kind of crooked and not perfectly straight. So yeah, you can see how the black and white just stands out. It's very striking against that lighter color background. So now that I know where everything's going to go, I'm going to kind of purposely add a little bit more of this darker pink, the Pip Pip Cherry-O. So it kind of peaks around the edges of the photos there on the left, because there is this darker pink color, like the color in the letter F is a darker pink. So I want to make sure I pick up on some of those darker shades. And so this is what I would call more of intentional mixed media, whereas when I first started, it was just kind of random, and I just kind of let the colors go where they wanted to go. But now that the background is kind of finished, and I know where the pictures are going to go exactly, I want certain colors to be visible in certain areas. And so this is where I take my time a little bit more, and I'm more purposeful with where I use the color, if that makes any sense. Because, you know, sometimes in the beginning, it's just kind of running and going wherever, and that kind of starts the background. And then at this point, you can kind of control it a little bit better and be more specific where the color is going to go. And it might look kind of strange like right now, but it makes more sense when everything is put back in its place. And so, yeah, the background is dry, and so everything that I'm adding now is going on to dry color, but it still blends really, really nicely because of the gesso. So yeah, gesso is key here. Now this is a spray that I haven't used yet. It's very dark and bold, and it's called Pink Moscato. It definitely looks like a dark wine. It's a beautiful, beautiful, very dark, very rich pink. So a little bit of that color goes a long way, and that is a Vibes. And I'm going to link shimmers down below if you are interested in getting any of these products, because they are definitely my favorite mixed media go-to inks and paints and sprays to use, because I've used them for so long. I know the colors, what's going to match what, and they always work so well together, and they're just beautiful. And they have different levels of shimmer factor, as you can see. But yeah, I love this deep pink color. So I'm going to dab a little bit of it up with the napkin here and see how this is going to look. Now, I did want to add some gold, since there are some gold elements in the letters. This is Jen Hadfield Gold Glitter Spray. It's basically the same thing as Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine. And I'm going to start with some splatters and then do a little bit of blending with some of the splatters, since the background is a little wet in some areas. And, you know, the gold just kind of serves as, I would say, a yellow. And so when it blends with some of this deep pink, it gives it a little bit of an orangey flair. But I love that. It's so shimmery. Oh, and so now you can see some gold going on. You got the deep pink. And the background is dry. This is the next day, so I let it dry. And I just decided to do the cut file right there in the middle. So I want to make sure it's perfectly straight. And I'm just going to very lightly go ahead and glue this whole thing down. Now, some of it's not attached. Some of it is, I'm not covering the whole background. I just want enough to get it attached to the background, because instead of backing it, what I'm going to do is pop up all of the letters using some adhesive foam and then stick them right back into their spot. So in a sense, they're going to be raised above the cut file. And you're going to still see the white outline, but instead of the whole thing being the same level, it's going to look a little bit more dimensional. And I'm just cutting some adhesive foam here, and I'm going to do this for all the letters. And then I'm going to stick it right back in its spot. And it's just going to create this fun little shadowing effect, which I love. I think I use adhesive foam on every single page. Something is going to get popped up. Usually it's the photos or some flowers or some hearts, but in this case, the title. And I really, really like that. So I'm going to leave that be for now and start to work on my pictures. I'm going to layer a little bit of white tissue paper behind those to give them some kind of layer. And this is just another element that helps to separate the photo from the background. And it's just something very subtle. I love tissue paper. You can cut it, you can tear it, you can, wad it up and make it look bunched up or however you want it to look. Very easy to work with. And I am going to pop up the photos, especially the big one here, because the letters are popped up. And since the photo is going to be kind of tucked under some of the letters, I need everything to be the same height. So yeah, that's going to be kind of tucked under the FECT. And then I'm going to have to peel off a little bit of the foam because I had put it on the letters, and then I forgot that the photo was going to be tucked there, so I didn't need those letters to be even higher. I'm going to do the same thing to the two smaller photos there. And I love that dark pink color down there at the bottom. I think that turned out really nice. And then I like how it looks shiny and metallic and gold up at the top. Gold is always a good choice, I have to say. Always a good choice. All right, so I like this design. I'm going to start to glue things down, and I'm going to use my fine liner bottle there. And the glue that I'm using is the Scotch Tacky Glue. It's the only glue I've ever used in that bottle, and it is never clogged. It works great. I just use it and then I put the lid right back on it. I don't leave it open long enough to dry. So yeah, putting the lid back on is key. So most of the letters are glued down. I think the letters are all glued down. I don't want to glue the photos yet because I want to add thread or some embellishments. Haven't decided quite yet on that. I'm going to use some thread, just not yet. Now this paper is from the 6x8 paper pad. It's got gorgeous gold foiling on it. And I love these mandala shapes because they are so pretty, so unique, but they also have pink and orange-ish tints on them. So these were perfect for this particular layout. So I just fussy cut out a few of those, and I'm gonna figure out a place for them to go. At this point, I'm looking for small embellishments because the bulk of the layout is done. The title is done. The big design element is done. So I'm looking for small things, and I'm looking for only pink and orange. So when you do a monochromatic layout like this, it helps to limit what you can use because you're only looking for certain colors. So if you're overwhelmed by a collection, or you have so many things in front of you and you don't even know where to start, try making a layout with just 1 or 2 colors only, and then that will basically take away the majority of what you can use because you're only looking for certain colors. So I'm looking for only orange, only pink. I'm using a couple of those little circle stickers that I found in the 8-page sticker book, and then I'm going to fussy cut out some of these little butterflies again with metallic gold foiling from the 6x8 paper pad. I'm going to cut 1 orange one and 1 pink one. And I'm going to use the 2 little circle stickers. I cut another one of the small mandala shapes to go over there by the P. So now I've got 3 of those. And then I'm going to start to work on thread. I've got that orangey color thread that I'm going to add over right here in between the 2 bottom photos, kind of showing out of the side there. And that just adds some texture. It adds a pop of color. And you know me, I'm obsessed with the thread. Still don't know why all these years later. I just like how it looks. It serves no actual meaning, but it just adds some texture and it looks a little messy. And you know, I love making me some messy layouts, and so it just adds to the whole messy factor. And yeah, the pink circle sticker says big day. Thought that was fun because it was a big day, because you know, we went to the festival, saw a crazy awesome concert, ate some strawberries. It was a strawberry festival, so yeah, you can get strawberry anything at this festival. So have to get strawberries or strawberry shortcake. So good. Yeah, just gonna glue things down. At this point, we are almost finished. I still go through everything and look for anything else that's pink or orange. I do have that deep color pink thread that's basically the same color as that pink Moscato spray. And I'm going to add that to the upper left on the photo up top to bring that deep pink color up in that area. And I'm only going to use the 2 butterflies over there on the top. And this is what I've got so far. I love how the dimension on this is looking. Looks a little messy. Most things are crooked except for the title. I wanted the title to be straight, but everything else is a little off center. I'm going to use one of these little dimensional, did I just say dimensional? Oh, good grief. Dimensional banner stickers. It says happiness. And then a couple of these stickers from the sticker book that are flowers, and they're pink, but I want them to stay true to the color they are, since they're a little bit on the clear side. You can see through them, and they're very thin, so I want to use them as layers. So I'm going to thicken them up a little bit by adding them to some white cardstock and then cutting them out and tucking them in a few places. And I only used pink ones, and they were small, so they were perfect. And then splatters. I'm going to go back to the pink shimmers and then just splatter that around in a couple spots. And we are almost finished. Love, love, love splatters. And then I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to do my journaling. And this is the perfect area for it right here on the bottom left. And I initially started out using my gold metallic pen, but since there's some gold metallic right there on the background, you couldn't really read it. It blended in too much, so I just kind of dried it up with a napkin and then went with my black fine tip Sharpie. And I felt like the black was okay because I've got a lot of black from the photos, and so it worked out okay. And I did add some black splatters later, but that's the final layout. I think this is really, really fun. And I know that the background looks a lot lighter. It's really hard to photograph light pink for me. I don't know. When I finished everything and looked at the photos, was like, this background is really, really light, but I promise you it is pink, even though it does look white in some areas. But I had a lot of fun putting this together, and I like the color scheme. There's a lot of pink, a lot of orange in this collection. So if you want to try a monochromatic color scheme, pink and orange is a good one to try because there's a lot of it in this collection. And it helped me kind of pick and choose what to use. And this cut file was awesome because it also not only serves as a big element on the layout, but it serves as the title. It took the guesswork out. I didn't even have to deal with a title. So I love big word titles like that. So I hope this inspires you in some way. I hope it gives you some ideas. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will link everything that I used down below so you can get it if you want it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next time.